The debate over privacy versus national security is back in the spotlight. Apple is challenging a judge's order to help the FBI break into the phone of the San Bernardino shooter. The FBI believes the phone may reveal who helped Syed Farook and his wife Tashfeen Malik carry out the attack that left 14 people dead and 22 others injured. However, the tech company says breaking into the phone would essentially give a backdoor master key to anyone with ill intentions and could possibly put millions of iPhones at risk. Apple has until February 26 to officially respond to the court order, and now protesters in more than 30 cities are expected to gather outside Apple stores Tuesday to call out the FBI for trying to force Apple to unlock an encrypted iPhone. In light of the recent terror attacks, are the demands being made of Apple reasonable? That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page and on Twitter. You can use the hashtag Fox26forlife. Joining us live in the newsroom this morning is our panel led by our senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico, our news analyst, Mustafa Tamiz, who's often involved with strategizing for Democratic candidates, and we have public policy analyst Jackie Bally, who's often involved with the strategies for Republican candidates. Good morning again.
Good morning.
Well, this has potential to be a tremendous legal precedent and really affect anyone who has an encrypted device, right?
This is huge. This will go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court when we get it put back together again, and this has a huge impact. Several years ago, the United States Supreme Court, and I believe it was Justice Scalia who actually wrote the opinion, although I could be wrong about that, said that when you're arrested in a search incident to arrest, we seize your cell phone. The police can't look at that cell phone, can't look at the contents of that phone without getting a warrant signed by a magistrate based on probable cause. Because what's now on our cell phone is not just a phone number, it's our entire lives. It's everything that we have is now contained on our cell phone instead of at a filing cabinet in our home and our office. And so this contains our private personal thoughts, and it's protected by the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution. That's what this battle is over. Apple, in my view, my legal opinion, is doing the right thing and saying this is a privacy interest that goes beyond this one issue. And if we create this back door, they will come to us every time they have an issue and want us to break into this phone. And so a court is going to have to rule on this privacy interest, Mustafa Tamiz, and it's greater than just this one issue. And while this case is bad, and we all want to know what's on that phone, it's greater than that.
Well, one part that's not being talked about is that, you know, part of the security of this is that there is no way to get in. So once you start creating a way to get in, even hackers are likely to use that. And that's not being discussed at all. Because in essence, look, I mean, if it is to save a life and you have to break into the phone, all of us would say, yeah, go ahead and break into the phone. Because I think Apple's in a difficult position, and part of me says just go do that. But I think what's not being said is that once you create a backdoor, the sense is only the FBI, only Apple will use that backdoor, and some hacker, you know, sitting in China or sitting in Russia won't use it for all sorts of other purposes. And that's just not the case. What we've learned over the years is that whenever you create these backdoors, it's the nefarious use of that backdoor is used more often than the proper usage of it.
Wow, this is a first. I'm going to be the one who defends the Obama administration.
Write that down. Write that down. You think Hillary Clinton wishes she'd had an Apple?
I actually agree with why the magistrate order was sent. This is a very serious issue, and in this one particular instance, they want to see what information they could gather to help us to continue our battle against ISIS. I also think those of us who think that what we put on our phones, and with technology the way it is today, that it's actually not public information anyway, with iClouds, really. And also with the Snowden incident, we've discovered that it's very easy for hackers to get into devices. So the Obama's administration is saying, look, we don't want to break into it. We're asking you to do it.
But the day, we got to go to social, but I got to ask you this. The day you start saying the Constitution can't work for this because this is such a bad case, so let's just say we're not going to protect the Constitution today, doesn't it begin to erode and break away? Now it's not so good for this case, it's gone.
what we're saying with these two terrorists, these horrible people who broke the law in the first place, is that you broke our law. You did not have respect for our law. You did not have respect for our Constitution. So we're going to actually find out
but then
exactly.
The next guy, it's not as bad, but we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. Am I right?
Well, that's the whole point of our Constitution. It should apply.
It has to work for everybody.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
That's right.
Look, I mean, this is an emotional case, and most of us are conflicted about it because how we feel. But that's what tests the fabric of our Constitution.
Let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Okay, let's check in on Twitter and see what some people are saying about this, giving their opinions. This person says, yes, he was a terrorist, and we must get every bit of info from him. He has no rights. Open his phone. Andrea, who is a political analyst on Fox News, says using some supercomputer tech, the FBI can do a forced break. I don't know if this is true or just her opinion, but she says the FBI can do a forced break, and she believes they're just posturing so they can legally end all encryption technologies. She says that's the real story here. And then Ryan says, hey, you people just don't get it. I'm a Republican who understands tech, and this compromises all of our security, not just them.
Yeah, I don't know if Andrea's right or not. The FBI is saying we can't do it. Apple's saying we don't have a program to do it, and we don't want to make a program. A court is going to have to decide this. And if the Supreme Court says Apple has to do it, then I'm sure Apple will do it. But right now, for Donald Trump and other people to say they should do it, Apple is following the law and appealing this. We're almost out of time. Apple is following the law. We're going to appeal this thing, and we'll decide, and we'll let a court decide.
I agree with, I believe it was the second viewer that said the crime that these two committed is despicable, and they lost their ability to have their rights.
Final thought.
I think one of the things that the tweet just said, that this is FBI trying to change the privacy issues across the board, not just with Apple, but other tech companies.
And I'm gonna disagree with my dear friend here, Jackie. The Constitution has to work for every citizen in the United States, no matter how bad it is. No matter how bad it is, we have to protect the Constitution for the greater good of the United States.